Welcome, everyone. This is the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley. Every week, we strive to bring you talks that will inspire you in some fashion. We're part of Rotary International, 1.2 million members around the world in 34,000 clubs with a goal of making the world locally and globally a better place. Our club has a special interest in innovation, entrepreneurship, and education. And along those lines, we look for people who might have stories to tell about innovative service or ways of thinking about what we do that might allow us to do what we do all the better. And today we have with us one of the original founding members of our eClub, now a member of a different club, which is okay. And his name is Chris Cochrane. He is a friend. He and I have known each other for a long time as we go back to the pilot days of eClubs in Rotary with the Rotary eClub of the Southwest USA. And I will hand it over to him to speak to us about storytelling and the nature of storytelling for how we think of what we do as service people. Chris, it is in your hands.
Thank you, Rush. And you know, it's really good to be speaking back to a club I helped to start. It's kind of a weird feeling, to be honest, but it's really good to know that this club, the eClub of Silicon Valley, is recognized in the Rotary world as one of its finest. So my topic today is the secrets to effective storytelling. Now, does anyone want to know the biggest secret? Yeah, I see a few nods. Okay, it's between you and me. Get close to your screen. Shh. Don't tell anybody. Okay, but the biggest secret, remember this, associate your message with ideas, thoughts, feelings, and actions. Wow, what does that mean? Well, hopefully we'll give you some impart and maybe give you an idea as to how to do that as well. So rather than a lot of words, let's watch a few examples. So after perhaps in the question time, we can get into the major elements, how to apply them, what you can do for Rotary, etc. So I don't know if you can see that, but I've shared my screen. And let's sit back and watch.
Yeah, you can stay. But keep your hands to yourself.
I just talk right into it.
I am Canadian.
Good afternoon.
It's not opening. Come on.
I am Canadian. Oh, we need to say it in different languages. Just after 6, so I'm lost.
No way.
You guys know any other languages?
Je suis canadien.
Yeah.
我是加拿大人。Io sono canadese.
I think we got this.
Soy canadiense.
I'm Japanese. Canadian Canada-winning.
Ya Canadians.
私はカナディアンです。
みんなにも Canadian.
One more language.
Yes, I'm Canadian. Canadian.
Yo soy Canadian.
Canadian saranimita.
A team effort.
New York City, the bagel capital of the world. The place where bagels reign supreme and are a cut above the rest, right? Well, maybe not, because it turns out there's something that could rock New York and its precious bagels to the core. Montreal has their own booming bagel industry, and there's a constituency of bagel enthusiasts that actually consider Montreal bagels better than New York's. Shocking, I know.
I lived in New York for 50 years, but I don't care for the New York bagels, and neither does my family.
Vous préférez les bagels de New York ou les bagels de Montréal?
Montréal.
What is going on here? It's time to investigate.
My name is Robert Morena, and I'm the co-owner of St. Vitor Bagel Shop. People really know about us, and they know that if you come to Montreal, you got to try a Montreal bagel. Every time I go to New York, I always visit a bagel bakery, and I test my bagels against theirs, and I've yet to come across something that compares to a St. Vitor bagel. Montreal bagel is set aside by its process of how it's made. We hand roll each bagel, we boil it in honey water, we seed it, and we bake it in a wood-fired oven.
All right, so Montreal's got the sweet and doughy flavor. What do you got to say about them, New York?
Montreal bagels? Yeah, I think it's mostly a fad. Honey water? Who does that? No, I'm kidding. I'm just making that part. Sorry. My name is Darren Dolphy, and I'm the operations manager with H&H Midtown Bagels East. If you want a regular bagel, you can go anywhere. If you want a true New York City staple, you come to H&H Midtown Bagels East. Look, it's New York City. We're moving at a fast pace. We sell a lot of bagels. Some bagels are made on a machine, others are hand-rolled like our cinnamon raisin. Big deal, still same great taste. It's a very labor-intensive process that takes roughly 24 hours from start to finish before we can bake off the bagels.
So you each have your own process. Big deal. How do you eat them?
So generally, we do not cut our bagels, and they come out of a wood-fired oven. They don't need to be toasted. You come, you pick up the bagels, and they buy a tub of cream cheese, and you would make the bagels yourself. That's the real Montreal way of doing things.
Got it. So in Montreal, I have to make it myself. What about New York?
When you walk into H&H Midtown Bagels East, you walk to the counter, place your order, we slice the bagel, we put cream cheese, we put the lox, we wrap it up, and it's ready to go.
New York started manufacturing bagels before Montreal. The big difference is that we just kept our bagel making tradition the same. Still horse and wagon.
So if you're more of a sweet and doughy do-it-yourself bagel maker, Montreal's for you. But if you prefer the toasted bagel with everything on it, you gotta come to New York. But in the end, if there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that everything's better with cream cheese.
Hey, I heard Elvis, the king himself, has come back.
Right. He's down at Pizza Hut doing the twist.
That ain't the way it's gonna be. I'm on my own and I am free.
Seems everybody's going to Pizza Hut for the Edge Pizza. After all, where else can you get these 16 pieces of pure pulchritudinous toppings? It's definitely the pizza place worth coming back to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And on that note, we'll stop sharing and go back live. So, anybody got any idea what makes those so communicative, I guess, if that's the word, communicate well? Well, I would like to give you a word to remember that if you can build this into what you do, it'll vastly improve anything you do visually. How many of you know what a reefer is? You know, those funny little cigarettes, you go like this. Well, I'm not expounding smoking cigarettes while you're doing it, though in some cases it might help. It's the word reefer. It stands for R, stands for relevant, E for engaging, E for emotional, F for fun, E for educational, R for relatable. So if you can make any of your videos fit all or any of those particular categories, you've got a winner. Now you can say, okay, the photography, the way it's shot, yeah, these are all technical things, but even just a basic video that has those elements in it, and you'll improve 1,000,000%. You'll really communicate. So to that end, Rushton, I guess my time's pretty much up. It's time for questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. What we're going to do is I am going to run down the list of people we have got on the recording. It's not a short list. While I'm doing that, anybody who is ready with a question, be upfront about it. Let us know in the chat. I have a question that'll allow me to get to you kind of straight away. So on the call from the Rotary Club of West Ottawa, District Governor Hadi Mortada of District 7040. Thank you so much for being with us, District Governor Hadi. From the District 7040 Passport Club, including our speaker, Chris Cochrane, we have Ariane Carrière, Christopher Thompson, Terry Forth, Barry Rowland, Brian Foster, Margaret Shibley, Jeanette Bellachiot, Guy Kirkjian, and Nick Salin. And then also on his way into that club, Hakim Subair, representing at the moment the Cataraqui Kingston Club. From the Old Montreal Rotary Club, we have Michael Wong Ki Song on his way to becoming the district governor of 7040, I believe starting in 22, if I have that right. From the Rotary Club of Eugene Metropolitan in Oregon, we have Heather Edwards, longtime friend of the eClub of Silicon Valley. From the Rotary eClub of Hawaii, Susan Sabo and Melissa Ige and guest Vicky Toyama. Aloha, it is wonderful to have all three of you with us. And then from the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley, there is Sandy Stabile, Cecilia Babkirk, Farheen Abbasi, Nick Lagarde, Tanya Martin, Shag Shagrin, Calman, Jan Weicker, and our guest Martina Spahn. My name is Rushton Hurley. I am part of the programs team of the eClub of Silicon Valley, and jazzed as always for us to have good stories to share to inspire Rotarians to go out and do great things. First question is actually a review item or a revision, if you are more British in these things. And that's from Barry asking for repeating what reefer stands for. So if you would go through that again, that would be helpful.
Okay, reefer. I'll see if I can share my screen too, because I've got a little graphic that may, if I can find the thing here. Actually, Barry, it stands for relevant, engaging. I can't find the graphic. But anyways, okay. No, can't find it. Okay, stop. Oh, wait, hold up. Here it is. And if we can, I'll do a new share. See if we can find it. I don't know if you can actually see that or not. Yep. That's really what it stands for. Yeah, relevant, engaging, emotional, fun, educational, relatable. Now, what do those things mean? Well, relevant is just that. It's timely. It's a topic that people want to know about. Engaging, which means it's done in a way that, hey, you know, this doesn't bore me to death. Emotional, get you in here. You know, makes you happy, makes you sad, makes you cry, surprise. It's fun. It's fun to do. It's fun to watch. Educational, has some information in it. And relatable, meaning from your personal experience, you can probably relate to what's going on. That's why I put in the first one, the Budweiser one, by the way. All those videos were done through our studio. And I thought that was probably the most relatable of all of them, especially to this particular audience. So Barry, I hope that answers your question.
Excellent, Chris. In thinking about actually the different things that you put forward, you know, you've been at this long time. You've gotten Emmy awards, Gemini awards, the British Association of Film and Television Industry Awards.
Yeah, for the Elvis one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I was particularly touched by the one about the grandfather. Can you tell me a little bit about the story behind that one and what that meant to the organization? What the presence of that story meant to the organization that shared it?
Well, the organization's Doc Morris. Those not familiar, it's out of the Netherlands. It's a healthcare pharmacy chain. They have many, many stores and situations, about 21 sub companies. I don't think they're represented in Canada or the United States, but I could be wrong on that. And they are into what they call heart and soul advertising. They don't want to advertise a given product. They don't want you to go buying Band-Aids or whatever. They think it's a waste of time. They'd rather associate their brand, their message with, you know, Doc Morris helps you take care of the things that are important in life. So they wanted a message that does just that. And you've seen the video. The results of that, now that budget was a little over $2 million to produce it. And it was done through a number of people, myself being the lead, but a number of people across the world. And that particular video, though they spent $2 million, they've now, sales have gone up. I think they're ahead by about $45 million at this point after 2 months of airing. It started airing in November. And as far as they're concerned, it's tripled the amount of sales that they thought they would get in that particular time frame, especially with COVID. So what it means to the organization, they're just people that believe, you know, if we can associate our name with helping you take care of life, that the rest will happen by itself. So that's what that message was meant to do. I think it did it rather well.
Fantastic. The idea of associating a brand with a feeling or a story is certainly one that is important for Rotary. I know you were involved with the This Close campaign.
Yeah.
Heather asks in the chat, when we're asking speakers to present to our clubs, particularly given that we don't typically compensate our speakers, what can Rotary clubs offer speakers to help them offer things that are more relevant and engaging and this kind of thing? And so I'm curious, like how you would address that idea about what it is that we do for speakers in Rotary, such that they see a return on their time.
Well, I'll take example of the Passport Club. This particular talk, this one I'm doing right now, is being recorded by you. It's being recorded by myself. I'm going to edit it up so it looks really pretty and has nice name keys on it and so on, and put it in our Passport Education Center. Now, we use that to promote our particular brand, which happens to be the D7040 Passport. Any Rotary club can do the same thing. You can record your speaker, you can put it up on Facebook, you can put it on a website and say, these are the kind of people we attract. Maybe you ought to come and listen to them. You don't necessarily have to say, come join us, just come be part of our group. And I think through natural osmosis, when people get part of the group and say, these people are okay, that the membership process will take care of itself. So the idea, use speakers, whatever they've said, to help you attract more people to your club. I think that's the value that you can offer a speaker. Now, in return, I also take that particular recording and offer it to the individual who spoke. For example, Hakeem, who's on this call, we recorded about 2 weeks ago, and I've given him a copy of it, which he can use with his organization for their particular purposes. So it can be a win-win. The club can get something they can use to market or promote themselves. The speaker can get something they can use to promote it, saying, hey, I was a great speaker at such and such. And it becomes a win-win situation. So that's part of what you can offer.
Excellent. Nick from the eClub of Silicon Valley has a question. Go ahead and unmute.
Yep. Chris, thank you for sharing those stories because I love it, and I have moved to Canada and become a Canadian citizen from the U.S. So I'm thrilled.
Well,
I love.
you've seen.
Oh.
He was so moved by that thought that it froze him. All right, and
It froze there. What province are you in?
I'm in British Columbia. I, like Arian, have a mailbox in the United States that I cannot get to for the past 10 months. My question is, I was particularly moved because, of course, I becoming Canadian, I got to learn fresh as an adult the Molson Canadian and multiculturalism, and I was curious if you have a similar story to the Christmas tree commercial. Did Molson really gain a lot from that? I remember that very fondly, and
well,
it
yeah,
makes me think of that brand.
Yeah, it's part of their I Am Canadian marketing campaign, which has been going on for a few years. They focus. I mean, the people at Molson, they really want their brand to be associated with patriotism. In other words, we're Canadian. We're seen as Canadian. We are highly Canadian. The fact that their beer is called Molson Canadian certainly helps. But the other thing is they want to show them that we're inclusive, especially in light of all lives matter and all Black Lives Matter and these movements, and also that we're extremely multicultural. So they want to be patriotism, inclusion, and multiculturalism. And that was the result. By the way, that fridge will be coming to Vancouver this year. Okay, I'm trying to get it in my little hometown here for a promotion. That fridge is available to, as a fundraiser. Come
cool.
Scream into the fridge, pay some money and scream into the fridge. And if we get enough people in enough languages, it'll open up and everybody can have a free beer. Rushton, you're muted. There you go.
That essentially means that the commercial itself started a line of conversations for people, right? And
Right.
The same thing is going to be true for, you think about your Rotary clubs and the service projects you do. If you can, in a nice compact way, I think one of the things that happens with videos is people often kind of spend a little too much time trying to put stuff into a video. Get it short, right? And get that out there where it becomes part of people's conversations. That's really powerful. Chris/Christopher Thompson, depending on whether he's in trouble, asks, is reefer a process, all right? Or is it a Chris process, or was it developed by somebody else? And if so, who? He actually did a Google search to try to find out and didn't see anything. Chris, is that your thinking?
Well, the word reefer was just made up by me for this talk because I had to sit down and say, okay, what exactly does synthesizing, what exactly do we do that makes it work? So I came up with that word because I wanted to show videos that showed off each of those particular points.
Great question.
It's a process. Let's forget. Yeah, it is a process. And it's one that can be learned. Okay, and now I started in the business in 1972 at City TV in Toronto, and learned my chops under a fellow named Moses Neimer, who was the founder of that particular station. People in Canada know who Moses is. Your Americans and people overseas would say, "Huh? Who?" And part of what he did, he taught a process, and part of the process I look back can be summed up by the word reefer. Because every time we did anything, and ours was started with daily news, then we went into entertainment programs, it had to have all those moments in it. Okay, or he'd reject it. It's gone. It's not relevant. Doesn't teach me anything. There's no fun part. Whatever. He would take it out. So is it a process? Very much so, but it's a learned process. It's one hopefully that can be taught somehow.
So a great question came up from our own Shag Chagrin, who is our paella master and a longtime volunteer with the, he can correct me on the title, but I believe the California Storytelling Association. And he said, who writes the stories, right? So when you're thinking about trying to get a good story, which I believe is what makes a video a good video, it's the story, it's not the text so much, right? How do you go about that process of finding the right people to write them?
Well, it's always a team effort. Everyone says, "Oh, you do it all." No. I lead a team, and the team is a number of creatives. There are people that are script writers. That's what they do for a living. There are people who are idea, like how can we come up with what's the best way of approaching this? There's people that are specialists in cinematography, people specialists in sound, people specialists in post-production, and all of the different elements that go into it. But Jags, to answer your question, who writes the stuff. Once the idea or the concept is agreed on, saying, yeah, we think that's going to work, we write down, all of us get together and we write out a quick outline of what should be in it. Then we send that outline to professional script writers who come back with various methods, various versions, and one of them is picked, and then we actually produce that particular script. In this case, it took 4 Hollywood scriptwriters, 2 of which have Emmys for what they've done to come up with it. That's why the budget was in the millions of dollars, because these guys, I tell you, are not cheap.
So what we'll do is we'll get one more question and then a comment from District Governor Hadi, and then we'll wind things down. But for all of you watching this, one of the big perks for joining a recording is that we stay on with the speaker and keep asking more questions. So if we haven't gotten to your question yet, don't worry, we will. So for a final question, let's go to Oregon and Heather, who has a question about nonprofit branding.
Thank you. So when you are not selling a product, I work for a nonprofit, and I'm trying to sell the belief that you are investing in something
Right.
better. How do I sell that if I'm not selling beer?
Well, it's a message. Take away the word brand, and you're imparting a message. So the message has to be reefer, relevant, engaging, emotional. And so exactly how you do it, that's why you have to get a brain trust together that says, okay, what's going to work in our particular situation? And that's a process that can be gone through to come up with, well, what are good ideas that we can work on and actually bring them to life? Can I sit here in 2 minutes and tell you we ought to be doing this and you ought to be doing that? No, can't do that, but it's a process. So really take out the word brand, take out the word company, take out the word sales, and it's your message that has to have these. If you don't have them, all of them, I wouldn't worry about it. It'll still be a great message. But what we found is if you have all 7 of those in there, the message skyrockets, the viewership goes, the memory of it goes, okay, because it's in here. Okay, and I take the Doc Morris example. I mean, they've had people comment on that, every one of their stores, everywhere people go and say, oh, I love it. I just got to shop here, And they didn't, there's not one mention of a product, anything. The only time you see them is their name at the end. That's it.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question. I mean, how can we sell a nonprofit? I wish I knew. I'd make $1 billion and move it on to Rotary.
Speaking to people's hearts for sure. And
yeah.
And
by the way, you'll notice the Rotary messages. Rotary RI Productions, which produces most of the Rotary videos that you see. I've had the good fortune of being associated with them in terms as a producer of some things. Some of the this close ones that we did were just superb because they hit all of those particular things. They're relevant, they were engaging, they told you a message, they were fun, emotional, okay? And they're very good at doing that. And they're one of the best production companies around, in my opinion. And we're fortunate in Rotary to have access to them. So to Heather, to answer your question, maybe you can somehow approach Rotary International RI Productions based in Chicago at Evanston and say, listen, as part of my Rotary Club, we want to do a message about, happens to be the nonprofit you're talking about. Can you help us? Well, you're a Rotarian, they will help you. To what extent, I'm not sure. It depends on their resources, but they're very, very good.
Thank you. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. Before I wind things down, I'd like to also ask District Governor of 7040, Hadi Mortada, to share a comment as well. I know that there was something on your mind as we went through this program.
Definitely. I mean, it's very educational, Chris. Thank you very much. And as you know, my passion goes back to the career that I did for over the 27 years or so, the business of advertising and sales. And then it always goes back to copywriting. And as you mentioned in your comment, and the relatable, and that's also the most important thing. And then we gotta go back to our, the W's, what I call them, the when and where and why and who.
That's news. That's news, though. That's news.
That's the news. That's true. But all of this, and you have to make it emotional because we all buy on emotion. If you're not there, you hit somebody's trigger with emotion, you cannot get that sale. So,
no, you did. I agree. Any message, is based on what you want, not what you need.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't matter whatever makes sense, doesn't make sense. You want it, you are gonna get it. It's emotional. And then
Sure.
again,
Look at the pet rock. How many people bought one of those because they wanted one?
exactly. So thank you, Chris. And that's concludes my
You're welcome.
comment. Thank you so much.
Well, now that we have reached the topic of the pet rock, I'd like to say to everyone who has joined us, say thank you for being part of our recording this morning. We hope that you will join us for future recordings. We hope that you will also take time this week to see where the kinds of messages that we share might inspire you to see possibilities for helping others. If you are a visiting Rotarian and you are interested in making up a mist by properly filling out our attendance form just a little bit down the page where this is posted as part of a meeting, you'll be able to get an email that you can share with your club secretary to make up that miss. And we should all be striving for 100% attendance just because that just makes us people more inspired to help others, which I think is an awesome thing. If you're not there, totally fine. But we think that's important. Also, a little farther down the page, you'll see our discuss section where you can share thoughts on what's been shared in this program and across the meeting and respond to the thoughts of others. We hope you'll engage in that way. We love it when people kind of share their ideas and their connections as a part of what they hear and what they read. So with that, we will do what we always do, which is hand it back to the speaker for the final word before we stop the recording. And then after that, we'll just keep talking because we get to. So Chris, back in your hands. Thank you again for speaking to us. What will you leave our viewers with?
Remember the reefer. And thank you for the opportunity. Always love speaking with this club. By the way, if anyone wants to contact about anything, I believe, Russian, there'll be an email address or my email address below. And if I can help you, if I can assist, let me know. Anyways, happy smoking. Remember reefer. Thank you.